getting ready for this word, I've had some struggles, some pitfalls that usually, they don't too much bother me. I know how to move past them or around them, um, but these have been pretty troubling, some real weird ones. And it's funny when I was brought up in the church. I was brought up my mom from the age of like 13. I was, mom's dragging us to some church and we're doing something. Grandma was at her own church, so it's like every day was church. And so there's, a lot of word being implanted. But it's funny when you're going through the struggle, you forget what all you've been brought through. And, you got to understand that this is a fight. I understand that it's life and, we're going through and we all feel like we're just here to live a life, and like Pastor Rose said, if you're just here to live, work, and then die, what kind of life is that? It's supposed to be different, but that's what the world will teach you that this is. You're supposed to be born. You have a little bit of time when you're a child to be molded. Then you become a man or a woman, and then you get out there and you start doing something. Well, that's not what God had intended. You see, we were supposed to abide and have our being in Him. That means we weren't supposed to work by the sweat of our brow. That all happened because we gave the authority of this world to Satan. So as I started going and preparing for it, I was asked to speak like a month ago, and God had already been putting a message in my heart. And so I started to write it down, and I mean, immediately, man, as soon as I put the first word on my phone, it was like a problem. I almost lost my life. And everybody will say, well, that's, you work a lot, but, I hit a concrete partition going about 65 miles an hour. And the only thing that happened was my wheels got a little damaged. That's God. Because I've seen people hit it at 40 and lost their lives. And, we are very quick to say, woo, man, I got lucky. That wasn't luck. That was God had His hand on your life. Because what you need to understand is Satan he's trying to take you out. Pastor Rose said last week, every one of us has a call on our lives. So if everyone has a call on your lives, what do you think the devil's doing? And part of the message today is understanding your enemy. I don't think anybody understands our enemy, because we're all sitting here like the things that we're going through, the things that other people are going through is subsequential. It doesn't really matter. It's just the way of the world. Why does God allow this to happen? It's not fair. You need to understand that this world was gifted to Satan. And the funny thing is, it was by us. Yes, you're not Eve, you're not Adam, but that's our seed. And when they messed up, they gave this earth to Satan. So now what you need to understand is we got to get over the fact that we don't own this earth and that bad things are going to happen, and you need to understand your enemy. Satan is not some guy who's out there who's convinced himself that in the end he's going to win. He knows he's going to lose. He knows he's already lost. So now his attitude is, you know what? If I'm going down, they're going down. So he has nothing to lose. There's no way you're going to be able to just talk to him to convince him to go a little softer on you. There's no way you're going to be able to hide. If I don't say nothing, he won't find me. There's no way you're going to be able to do any of that. So he's just going to continue to beat you up every day of your life if you don't understand how to fight him. And that's been the problem with most of the world. They're trying to fight these things naturally. You can go get all the guns you want to. You can go get all of the military force that you want to. And at the end of the day, the shots that they're firing at you will still hit if you don't have the right understanding and the right words coming out of your mouth. So a little bit about me. Some might not know me. My name is Kenny. I come from Kansas City, Missouri. I came from that town in a time when it was pretty crazy. You know, there was a lot of death, there was a lot of prostitution, a lot of craziness going rampant. Me, my mom, and my sister, she was real little at that time, knee deep into all of it. Just the wrong side of town, the wrong attitude, just in it. And a series of accidents happened to my mom that actually made her understand that God had given her another chance. And basically, she was in an accident in a hotel where 180-something people lost their lives. Some skywalks fell. And in the middle of that, God saved her, pushed her under some tables, laid some stuff across her, and just let the death just go by her. And when it was done, he told her, I have a purpose for you. I've saved you for this. This is what you need to do. And from that day on, she was just straight at it. Never looked back. You know, sometimes it was a little bit frustrating because it's like, you know, there were some things I wanted to do that now I couldn't do no more. Man, who can't watch the Smurfs? I mean, what's wrong with the Smurfs? I was like, wow, you know, I'm 14 years old. You know, I shouldn't want to watch them in the first place. You know, I'm a boy. But for some odd reason, the fact that she said I couldn't watch them, I was sneaking around trying to figure out what the Smurfs doing. They doing something I ain't supposed to be watching. You know, but, you know, that was how she understood it. She went all in. And I have to thank her because she gave me the fortitude to even want to go to step into that light. Now, not saying that I was always wanted to be a pastor or an evangelist or anything like that, but for me, this is weird territory anyway. Because when I was a child, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I seen things backwards. So even reading wasn't so bad for me. I don't understand why I could read okay, but the spelling and putting words together, sometimes, you know, I would, hi, you know, and then people are like, what is that boy got Tourette's or something? What's wrong with him? It's like, that's just the way I operated. So to get in front of people in class and all that wasn't, you know, never me. So when they was like, yeah, you're going to be a pastor, I was like, buddy, these Christian people crazy. Ain't no way, not me. So for the longest, I just ran from church. I was like, if they going to try to put some pastoral stuff on me, I'm gone. And, you know, your destiny will catch up with you. And when it does, it hits you. And when it hits you, you know, hopefully you're in the right place to receive it, because what you don't want to happen is your destiny to now fall in the hands of somebody else. Because if you don't get the provision out that God has given you to give to someone else, he's going to find somebody else that'll give it out for you. And then you're sitting there. Just like I said, you'll be the one going to heaven and have to go to school. You know, you got to go to classes. So we in the throne room praising him every day, and you can only praise from 8 to 5. You know, who wants to do that? You got to go to class. But me and my wife, we graduated from Bible college. We have associate's degree in theology. Now, I don't say that to toot my own horn. I say that because of this. There's the ministerial Godhead, if you'll say. There's evangelist, there's pastoral, there's gifts and healing, there's the musician. All of that are different areas in your religious walk that you study. Ours is studying the theory of the word. So I can't sit up here and give you a show like a lot of people come to church to see. You know, they come to church so they can get a good show, see the pastor run around, throw his little handkerchief up and do all that. I can't do that. What I can do is I can give you the understanding of the principle of how the word is supposed to work in your life. So I might step on some toes, but you just got to understand it's not me. It's something that God is trying to get you to understand. You know, that's why I'm very careful before I say a word that I get with God and I get in the spirit and I say, you know, hey, you do this, because I don't want none of me to be in it, because I know I can fail and I can give the wrong instruction sometimes. I used to think I was always right, and then I got with Kim and she lets me know I'm not always right. Very rarely right. So I've had to rethink that a little bit. So this is just because I love you, because I hate to see anybody struggling the way that I'm struggling. So with that, the title of my message today is The Butterfly Effect. And the butterfly effect is basically the effect of chaos. It's the chaos theory. It is the phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have a large effect anywhere. That being, I know you've heard those saying that a butterfly can flap its wings in this part of the country and a tidal wave be in the other side of the country. That's that theory. And see, I know we all can understand the chaos that's going on in the world today. Just like, there was a mass shooting at Walmart yesterday, and there was actually another one today. And, people are like, oh my God, what's going on? And it's that chaos. But what you need to understand is the butterfly effect is the world's name for that. There's another name for that. It's called the Satan effect. The Satan effect is the effect of actual chaos. Because if you understand, in the beginning, God was, and God created the earth. Now, it says in that same passage that the earth was void and without form, and he called forth light. So that means there was no hatred and upset and any kind of craziness in the beginning when God created earth, because when you get light, there's no more dark. And it says that the dark can't stand in the light. Even when God asked the spirits, what do you have to do with me? They can't have anything to do with him because he is all good. So what the trick is him making you feel like the stuff that's going on is just stuff that's going on in the world, and it doesn't have anything to do with, spirituality or anything like that. It's just a natural occurrence that's going on with the world. But what you need to understand is in him doing this, placing this certain chaos in the world, what it's doing is now making other people look and say, you know what? There can't be no God. If there was a God, how would he let all this happen? And so now he's got a foothold in your belief. After it goes from there can't be any God, because he wouldn't have it to happen, to all of a sudden now it's anger. I can't stand, if there's a God, I can't stand him. That ain't the God I want to serve. So now you got hatred in your heart. So after he gets the hatred in your heart, it turns from, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't care about what everybody else is doing. They down there getting beat up and doing all that. I'm going to do me. Now he's got you separated from Christ. And see, that's his trick. His trick is to make you feel like he really don't exist. That these people are making something up. They're just telling fairy tales about this little man, this little red man with some horns in his head. And that's his little trick, because he's not a little man running around with some horns in his head. He was the most beautiful angel that God possessed. And he's a siren. He's got a song that he'll sing to you that will have you believing that you can do anything. And then when he gets you out there on that water, he'll just let you fall. Because that was his job. He was the minister of music. His job was to move the other angels and to help them enter into where God was. So if we see that, and we can get ourselves over onto that other side where we believing that, oh, well, this can't be a God deal, or there can't be a devil, or there can't be all this, I don't believe that, then that's what separates us. And then when we get separated, we're dead. Because, I had a guy that I worked with, I rode on the truck with, and, we just we have these little conversations. And, it's good when you're in a place and people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. that lets you know you're doing something. But I wasn't always that way. I was one of the guys, and we had some serious conversations, and he was like, well, I'm gonna live my life the way I'm gonna live my life. I'm pretty good. I don't do crazy stuff. I go to church every once in a while, but I'm pretty good. I'm gonna live my life like this, and then I'm gonna die. And if I die and I don't make it to heaven, then oh well. I'm like, what? What do you mean, oh well? Dude, so you saying to me, if you go to hell, that's all right? No, I don't want to go. But if I go, I've lived my life the best that I've known how, so then it must have not been for me to go to heaven. That's a trick. The devil is tricking you. He is stealing he ain't stealing your stuff, he's stealing your life. Because God said he knows the plan that he has for us. It's for good and not evil, to bring us to an expected end. That means he's made an end for you, an end that doesn't end up in hell. It doesn't end up in poverty. It ends up blessing you so that you can bless someone else. But see, because we don't get things that we want and we can't find them, we all of a sudden say, oh, well, God must not want me to have them. Stop letting the devil trick you. It's not that God don't want you to have them. It's that you haven't sought him to figure out how to get them. There is a certain path that God has put before you to walk. And when you get off of that path, you have to find your way back to it. And it's not him that's testing you. Let's get that straight now. I get tired of that. It makes me mad. The word says that God is a good, good father. I don't know about you, but if I tested my daughters and said, run out there in the yard and pick that thing up out of the grass, and every time they did it, they ran out there and they got bit by a snake, I don't think they'd like me very much. As a matter of fact, I don't think I'd be a great dad. Hey, run over there and run out on the street and see if those cars will miss you. What kind of father does that? That's not the father that I serve. The father I serve says, this is the way out of that situation. The devil's getting ready to bring that to you. I need you to walk this line. You walk this line, it won't touch you. But see, we're like this. I'm going to walk the line, God. Where you want me to walk, God? Oh, well, no, God, this is faster over here, this route right here. I'm going to take this route here. Hey, the other side. Well, look, God, I know you God and everything, but I got this. I've been walking for like 20 years. I know how to do that part. I'm going to walk over here. And then we get over here and we get out into that deep water. And we're like, oh, Jesus, why you put me in the water? Like, I ain't put you in there. I told you not to go over there, but there you are. Now, if it was me, after that, I'm like, I'm done with you because, for one, you're stupid. You won't listen. And then you get in trouble and you blame me. I ain't got nothing to do with you. But see, God is merciful. So he's like, oh, my goodness, they done fell off in the water again, Jesus. You see this? Okay, go down there and save them. Put them back up where they put them by the spot where they're supposed to be at. And let's try it again. And see, we never get that. We don't get the fact that every time we blame God for the stupid stuff that we do, if it had been one of us, we have our feelings hurt. Thank God it's him. Because I know me. You only have one time to blame me for something you did. Then we wouldn't have to talk no more. Look here, I'm going to tell you what. Since I always cause you to mess up, I'm going to stay over here. You stay over there. And we ain't got to talk. We'll holler at each other at church. See you later, buddy. That'd be me. It's a good thing he ain't like that. We've got to be careful to stop blaming him for the stuff that we're doing. And we need to understand you got to get on your path. If you know that there's a certain spot that you're supposed to be walking in, man, I urge you to at least start walking that way. Get close to it or something, because it's getting short. And the provisions that you want, they're there. You're not going to get them if you don't understand how to ask God for them. There's some things that the devil has stolen from us that we're getting ready to walk into. And that's why it's important that you guys catch it, because when I catch it, you're going to get it. And it's supposed to work the other way. When you get it, I'm supposed to get it. Now, that's not to say we're not going to have hard times, because just like I said, the devil's only going to fight fair. He's down here trying to take everything that he can take. He's going to take it because he can, not because, it's mandated. If you give him authority in your life, you give people authority by not speaking up, by just letting people walk on you. If somebody says something, like we say it to us about ourselves all the time. Those little things like, man, I'm broke. Man, my arthritis. Man, I'm just sick today. Now, granted, these may be things that are really happening to you, but in the spiritual, they're not happening to you. These are signs of things that Satan is putting on you to try to get you to say those things so he can start introducing death into your life. Because the power of life is in the tongue, but the power of death is in the tongue too. So if you keep on saying you broke, busted, and dusted, and disgusted, guess what? You're going to be broke, busted, dusted, and disgusted. That's why it's weird for me because, people be like, hey, man, you want to go do this? And I'll be like, I can't say I don't have no money. I can't say I ain't broke. I'd be like, well, the way it look right now, it don't look like it's going to be what it needs to add up to be for me to do. They'd be like, dude, what are you trying to say? You ain't got no money? Oh, you know what? I do. I'm highly blessed and I'm favored. It just ain't a good time right now. You got to watch what you say. And sometimes it's not that, it may not feel like it's that important, but it is, because that's one of those loopholes. You know how, you can get a lawyer and they got the little clever things that they can say to get you out of little things. That's one of them. Who knows, if you living in a shack and your lights ain't on and you ain't got no groceries, the first thing out of your mouth should be, look, I can't do that with you because I'm bad. I ain't got no groceries. My lights ain't on, and my house is getting ready to fall apart. That's truth. But it's those people who win are the ones who say, you know what? My house is a kingdom. Man, I got all kind of stuff going on over there. My lights is on so much that it's brightening up the next door neighbor's house. And then people will go over there and they look and they be like, them people is absolutely crazy. This house is getting ready to fall apart. I need a flashlight to walk around in their house, and they talking about they got this. But I guarantee you, those are the ones that everybody's like, man, them people's crazy. Boy, you see Sister Cheryl yesterday, she was all talking, I seen her, she crazy. But those are the ones later on down the line that turn out to be the ones that fund the church. Amen. That all of a sudden, they're walking in another way, and you're like, how did they get that? It's because of their words. It's because you will trick yourself into believing what God said and will accidentally bless yourself. That's what happens to most of us. That's what happens to the world. There's a system set up in the Bible that if you would do it, you would totally get yourself out of debt. All the Bible says is to give, to bless back into the kingdom. And these people, I don't know, the rich folks, Donald Trump's people, all them guys with the money, Bill Gates and all them. They while they're blessed, why all of a sudden it's like, why is this dude always getting all the money? It's because he gives. And it's funny, he'll give to people, he'll give to organizations, he'll give to that. At one point, he was trying to give away all his money, and the money kept coming back. He was like, I can't give away all, I had a certain amount that I wanted to get down to, and I can't get under this $1 billion. Who would like to have that problem? I want that problem. Man, I can't give away as much money. These people keep giving me money. God, what is going on, God? That's the kind of problem I want to have. But see, that's because he's working the system. He's working the system and don't even know it. Just imagine if you know how to work the system and you do it, the financial breakthrough you'll come into. It's like me and Kim started, and there's problems that we have going through, but for the most part, everything we need is always given to us. And you can watch us, and people will say, well, they don't give as much as this person or that person, but I guarantee you, what we don't have to give in the plate or whatever, with the time and whatever else we give, God blesses us. And that moves us to another spot to where we can turn around and bless somebody else. And then after that, we start to learn how to go a little bit deeper, how to do it differently. Now we're going to be blessed in another area. That's where we have to be at. Because once you understand that all of this is designed by Satan to trip you up, you'll change your outlook. You'll change your words. And that's what God wants. Now, if you don't believe me, let's look at Matthew. We're going to start at chapter 8, and we're going to start at verse 23. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, inasmuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, let us perish. Okay, so stopping right there, that's one of those words I'm talking about. The waves are overlapping the boat. So by all means, they probably looked like they were getting ready to die. Look, if we don't get somebody in here that's some strong sailors that know how to correct this swing, we getting ready to capsize. If we capsize, we all going to be dead. It's not your fault that that's our mind thinking, because we are subject to this world, this earth, and that's what you see. That has been what you've been shown all your life. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. But see, God is trying to get you to understand that these limitations that the world put on you doesn't translate into the spirit. In the spirit, you can ride on top of the wave in just some shoes and some sandals. Whereas if you did that here in the worldly state, you're sinking. And that's where you have to know that you need to get to. You need to get to understanding where you can get it in the spiritual. So then it says, and he saith unto them, why are you fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose, rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the waves and the sea obey him? And when he was come to the other side of the country of the Jordanese, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of their tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by the way. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with you, Jesus, the Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? Now, so what that's saying is we don't understand the stuff that is going on in the world, the chaos, but see, God sees it. And in the chaos, it can't operate around God. That's why when the possessed seen it, they was like, whoa. The demons was like, wait, hold on, what you doing here? It's not our time yet. We got full reign here. Why you here? You getting ready to torment us? Hey, look, you can just let us go. We'll be cool. We ain't got nothing to do with you. We'll just ride out. And see, if they know who God is, how much more shouldn't we? If they can ask, the question, are you here to torment us? That means they have no hold on this world. Spiritually, if we fight him physically, he does. But see, I don't think we really understand who our enemy is. We think he's, just like I said before, he's some guy that's, will come up later on down the line and, will give us these tormenting things and come out with his horns, and then, the world's over. But that's not it. You got to understand Satan is a spiritual. He's going to become flesh. He's going to be made flesh through the Antichrist and everything. But right now, he is the thought of his spirit. That means it's a kind of an attitude, kind of a disposition that people carry. He gets into an understanding and says, hey, I need you to do this. And then you do it, It was Satan, but it was the thought that did what it was doing. It's not this spiritual guy running around, all this smoke and stuff, and he's manifesting and he pushed some stuff over and he's gone. No, what he does is he put that thought and idea in certain other people. And it gets carried out, and then all of a sudden, he disappears. So then certain people are like, well, that wasn't no Satan, that was just Billy. And then the other person is like, well, that was a demon. We didn't see it, and it jumped all over. And it's the spiritual understanding of him putting some thoughts and some understanding in people's heads. And so that's why when people are trying to go find him, they don't find him. And then people who ain't looking for him find some other stuff, and they automatically blame that. But that ain't what that is. And then the faster we get to understand that, the more that we'll be able to withstand that. And how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Let me show you. So the way that we do that is like 2 Timothy. This is a good one. 2:15. And in the King James, let me get there. It says this. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And that's a good one, but if you look at it in the Amplified, it says this. This is the one I kind of like because it's a little rough. It says, study to do your best to present yourself to God approved, a workman tested by trial, who has no reason to be ashamed, accordingly accurately handling the skillful teaching the word of truth. Now see, you have to study the word. You can't just read it. Like you get these people like, oh, I read the Bible cover to cover. Okay, so what'd you get out of it? It wasn't for me. You know why? It's because you didn't study the word. You see, the word is ever changing. There's a reason why they call it the living word. Because every time you read it, it should say something different. Every time I see a verse that I know personally, one that I can state, every time I read it in the time that I need something, the word changes. Amen. And it lets me know something that I didn't know before. So you can just read it if you want to, but you're not going to get the understanding out of it that you need because it's going to change every time you read it. When it changes, you have to understand that it's not to trick you up or to make you not understand. It's to give you what you need in that moment. Not so that you can be well-versed and understand and have more knowledge than everybody else. It's to get you through what you're trying to get through. And you just can't read it when you need something or just because, well, I ain't got nothing else to do today. You have to read it daily. And I understand we're all busy. We got stuff that we're doing. But, we have to set some time apart for him. Usually mine is in the morning when I'm on my way to work. I'll listen to a little word. And then, I try to, every day, usually around a certain 12 or whatever, I'll look at a couple of verses on the Bible on my phone. And then once I've done that, here lately, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm just gonna put myself out there. I know I need to do it more because when I get home, that used to be my, let me at least read a couple of verses. And here lately, boy, it's been like, I'm gonna sleep on the couch. But hey, I know it's somewhere I need to go. I need to work on it. That's what I'm saying. We're all human. There's nobody that's more perfect or more deserving than another. We're all sinners. We've all messed up, and we're all going to mess up. That's the only reason why we need God's provision. So if you only read one word out of the Bible every month, God's not mad at you. That's us. That would be us saying, you know what, he ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing because he's supposed to be reading the word. He only read it once. That's all us. God is just saying, oh, look, he fellowshipping with me. Okay. It could be just 5 minutes, but he's happy. Now, you need to understand, if the stuff you're asking for you're not getting, that's not his fault. All you have to do is study a little bit more. It'll let you know how to get what he has for you. So, I hate to see it when pastors and people get on the pulpit and they say, God's coming back. You better get your life together. You better do this. You better do that. And you better not be doing this. And you better not be doing that. That's not our job. Our job is not to judge you on what you're doing. Our job is to love you. Our job is to say, you know what? I don't know what it is that you do or what you've done, but God said he loves you. Come as you are. Amen. See, God said come as you are, but we say, hey, come, but you can't be doing this. You can't be having that. You can't smell like that. You can't be doing that. You can't look like that. That's all a man-made trait. I guarantee you, there's going to be some people in heaven that you're going to be like, oh my God, you might faint when you see them. You might get to heaven and walk through the gates and be like, oh my God, what is he doing here? You better watch that, because that might earn you a one-way ticket somewhere you ain't supposed to be. I'm sorry if I stepped on somebody's toes there. That one's hard. Because I know I've seen some people that, at first I was like, Lord, bless them if you want to, because I really don't care if you do or not. That's not the attitude we're supposed to have. We're supposed to bless everybody, enemies too. God never lifted a finger to those guys who was tormenting him and then hung him on the cross. Now, my favorite guy did, Peter did. He went all in. He was like, I'm cutting people's ears. I'll mess with him if you want to. See, that's how I want to be. I want to be just like him. I want to go hard for God. Now, I know there's been some certain things that I probably couldn't deal with. Like, I'm not using somebody trying to cut heads off. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go around here in the corner, but I'm still with you, God. There's going to come a time you better understand how to go hard for God, because in the end we're going to need him to go hard for us. It's not fair. Not saying he won't, but hey, don't you want to do the same for him that he's want to do for you? I do. So, just like I said before, it's not God testing us. It's the devil throwing pitfalls and kind of crazy stuff in there to see if he can get you off of your path. And see if he can get you to move away from your destiny, away from your call. Because if he can get you to move, then he can put roadblocks in the way, and then if he can get you diverted to go around the path, eventually getting back on there. This right here was meant for somebody. There was something that somebody was supposed to get for you. And because he diverted you and made you move around that, you got back on the path, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing now. Like me, I know there's probably some people out there, they may be passed away by now. They might be going through a struggle right now. But there's some things that at 18, 19 years old that I knew that they were supposed to get. But because I diverted and I walked around there, I left that task to somebody else. And hopefully somebody else picked up the torch and they did what they were supposed to be doing. But I dropped the ball there. And that's his trick. He wants to get you to divert. So whatever it is you're supposed to be giving to somebody, they won't get. And you can go on forever saying, God's testing me. If I go here and I come out all right, then he's going to bless me. He's going to do that. That's not how that works. And I can prove that to you. Go to James 1:13. As you can tell, that's one of my pet peeves. I can't stand it when they be like, people like, ah, God's testing me. And I was like, do you read your word? God don't test us. If anything, we test ourselves. If I can find it here. All right. And it says, let no one say when they're being tempted, I am being tempted by God. I'm being tempted by God. For temptation does not originate from God, but from our own flaws. For God cannot be tempted by what is evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each one is tempted when he is dragged away, entered and baited to commit sin by his own worldly desire, lust, and passion. Then when the desire he conceived it gives birth to sin, and when the sin has run its course, it gives birth to death. See, so that says God can't be involved in tempting. Because, see, God is light. Temptation and all those things that bring sin is darkness. So if you ever notice, when you click the lights on, darkness is gone. There's nowhere around. You can't see it. There's some other places that you can go where the light is being blocked, that there's some darkness. But if the room is full and there is no darkness that is in surrounding that. So what you need to understand is God can't put things in your path that are not to edify you, not to bring you closer to faith, to goodness, not bad. So those two things don't coincide. You can't be tempted by God from bad things if God cannot tempt you because he can't be around bad things. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I can't give you $20 if I ain't got $20. There is no evil in God, so how can he tempt you with evil? That can't be done. So that's the first thing that we need to understand, that, we need to stop doing. We need to stop saying that. If you can understand where the bad stuff comes from, then you understand quickly how to get over that. It says that evil brings forth death. And people think that death is physical, but death is not physical. That death is spiritual. Because the definition of hell is life without God. People always manifest it. There's probably going to be a physical manifestation too, but the first manifestation of that is being separated from Christ. When you're separated from God, that is going to be the true hell. Because our spirit man is made to be with the Father. And so that's what happened when Adam and Eve gave up the rights here. They had to be given these man suits. So now we walk down here, but the spirit on the inside of us is longing to be back with the Father. So if everything that we do down here on the earth, we don't get it right, and for some odd reason we end up in hell, that the hell that they're talking about is the separation from Christ. Not being able to, just imagine your kid or somebody who's been with you forever is stuck in some crazy prison or something, and you can't get to them. You understand the torment that would put on you? I mean, like some of us be like, oh, thank God that kid gone. But for us who love him, it'd be torment. Kim, our son, been gone for a couple of years, and every time he come back, it's like he been gone for 45 years. And he leave, and she's like, oh. And as we men, we like, he'll be back. He'll be back on Christmas. It's all good. But every time he leaves, that's how God is with us. And that's how our spirit man is longing to be back with the Father. But see, with this spirit, this flesh man that we have on, it corrupts. And it blocks the spiritual aspect that God is trying to get to you. So your spirit is fighting you, trying to get, look, man, stop doing that. Quit doing it. Can you do this? Please come over here and get it. Let's praise a little. Let's jump around. Let's run. And your fleshly part is like, nope, not going to do it. Sorry, you're just going to have to be okay. No, not doing it. And then all of a sudden, that's why usually people get that feeling. They don't know what it is, but they all of a sudden they catch the Holy Ghost, what we used to call it in the Baptist church. He caught the Holy Ghost. You catch that Holy Ghost, you get to running around, flipping and doing all that. It's because that the spirit man is finally free. And so now your physical body don't know how to understand what's going on. So it just does whatever it can. That's that great feeling. And you get it once or twice. You're like, then after that, it's just, okay, it is what it is because you know how to operate there. I done seen so many people like, I ain't got this. I felt some kind of way and I don't know what it was. And I was like, I know what it was, bruh. I know exactly what you got. So then the other part of that is of knowing your enemy is knowing how to fight him. So you got to have a battle plan. If you can have a battle plan, it's like whenever we go in and we fighting somebody, there's a plan. There's a strategic plan that is set forth. The generals come down and they talk to the sergeants. Sergeants talk to the commanders, and they're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. And everything is uniform. They move in a certain way. They move at a certain time. Everything is understood. We got checklists, we do that. But see, the devil's trick has us running around here because we don't know who we fighting. We just running around here just doing, everybody's out of sync. One person's doing this, one person's saying that, another one's saying this, another one's saying you can do this, one saying you can't do that, and it's just chaos. So we have no battle plan, but I'm telling you, if the church can get together and follow these rules, we'll be okay. The first one is know yourself. You have to know what you can and what you can't put up with. It's easy for us to say, you know what? I believe this and I believe like that. But all of a sudden we get a Buddhist or whoever in here and they say, you know what? God said this and this, and so this has to be this. And then you're like, oh my God, he's right. I'm Buddhist now. That's what usually happens to us because we don't know ourselves. But see, when you can find yourself in the Word, it don't matter when they come over and tell me, 75 men wrote the Bible. That wasn't really, that ain't this, that ain't that. I was like, you know what? I know where my help comes from, and this is what Jesus said to me. Well, how you know Jesus said it? Because my faith tells me that Jesus said it. You can argue with me all you want to, but I know in the end of the day that God said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. That's what he said to me. I believe that. That's what it is. But why? Because it is. See, that's where you have to be able to find yourself. Because if you don't have something that you believe in that you're going to stand for, you will fall for anything. And that can't be me. So then the other part of it is knowing your enemy. And that's where that was hard. Because the enemy looks different than everybody. Your enemy don't look like my enemy. And I can tell you all day long how I got rid of my enemy. But that don't mean you're going to be able to get rid of your enemy the same way. You got to find yourself in the Word. If you do, it'll tell you what Bruce is how he's supposed to be walking. And if it tells you how you're supposed to be walking, it will automatically give you the weapons you need to fight your enemy. So it's why it's funny, there's a reason why when people come to church and, they're coming to hear from God, and on those occasions that God actually sends the Spirit and says, okay, I need you to tell them this, and he tells it to them, they're like, wow, man, that was just so awesome. That was great. Yeah, but that's the way that it's supposed to operate, because your devil ain't the same as my devil. So it's futile for me to get up here and say, you know what? Y'all need to be listening to this song every day at 3 o'clock, just like I do, and it's going to get you out. And then you do it and then don't do it, because that's not the way that God's wanting you to do it. He might be wanting you to say some prayer every day at 3 o'clock for doing this. Or maybe just sitting down being quiet. He might not want you to say a word, because some of us can just talk. when probably we shouldn't be talking. You know, you hear a lot of that, girl. You know what happened to Susie the other day? Let me tell you. You know, she was sitting over here, and you'll be fighting before you know it, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, oh, I didn't know we were going there, but all right. Well, maybe, hopefully Susie's okay. I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is, and you done put something on this woman because now you gossiping. So God just might want you to just be quiet so that he can start telling you some things, because you know you can't hear God say, shut up, if you're so busy talking down at somebody. That's hard, but it's the truth. So sometimes you just got to be quiet so God can say, now you know that was wrong. Oh, you're right. That's why some people still do it, because they ain't got to hear God tell them, stop doing that. Stop talking about them, because you did the same thing 3 years ago. And didn't nobody talk about you? Well, at least not you know about it. I'm pretty sure somebody did. But you didn't know about it. But you know better, so stop doing it. But if we don't ever be quiet enough to hear that, we're not. If I don't ever get in my word enough, I can't get up here and give you a message because I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying. I can't just, God says, hey, Bruce, I want you to give me a message next Sunday. And Bruce go home for a couple of days and study and say, okay, I got a word. It don't work like that. Now some people, I'm not saying there won't be a time that you get something, but I promise you, if it's a good word and it's a word that you're supposed to be given in time, God is cultivating that in you. It's not something you're just going to learn in 2 days. It's something that God is already teaching you right now. He's teaching you, and that is the reason for that. He's teaching you so you can later give it to somebody who needs it. And that's what happens with us. Most people, they be like, I'm a pastor. That's what I do. And he's like, oh, well, who ordained you? I did. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you're going to have some problems, brother. There's going to be some, it ain't going to be some Jesuses, it's going to be some Kennys. Kenny said, that's not how that's supposed to work. If you see them people and they're out for themselves, yeah, they're not listening to God. And I hate to say that it's going to be, the word says that there's going to be a great falling away of people led away by spiritual men. And that's why it is important to know your word, because I definitely don't want to be one of them that's leading them away, because some bad stuff is going to happen to them in the end. So you got to be careful. And then the third one is just know your Redeemer. I promise you, when you're going through something and it's gotten to where you just feel like, there's nothing else for me to do, I'm just going to check out or do whatever. If you know that all you have to do is say his name, I promise you it changes the situation. I mean, there's sometimes that I can't do nothing but just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, oh, hallelujah, Jesus. Just call his name. And after a while, you'll start getting some words. If you go long enough, man, he'll give you a song. And, I'm the first one to tell you I can't sing, but if you give me a song, I'll be up here singing it to you real quick, because I want to move away from that. I want to get out of that. But you've got to know that in your situation, you can run to him. Instead of just running to everything, your lights is getting cut off tomorrow, and you're, whoo, can I borrow $20? Hey, can I borrow this? I need to go try to get a raise. Oh, I need a raise. The bank, can I get a loan? Man, your first obligation should have been Christ. Lord, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but you said, remind him of his word. He says to remind him, to let him know, because what that does is it makes you speak. Y'all don't understand. See, that right there, that was good. That right there is when I heard that was like, poof, wow. That was mind-blowing. God didn't tell us to remind him of his word for him because he's forgetful. It's to put the word in your mouth. See, if he can get you to speak it, then all of a sudden it takes on form. But see, what we want to say is, and I used to do it all the time, Lord, if it's your will, let me have this Cadillac. And then that's the only thing I said. And then I sit there and wait. And wait. And wait. And I ain't getting nothing. And now I don't understand it. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't God's will. No. God said we can move mountains if only we speak. So that means you can't go with this if it's your will and ask God for stuff. If you want something, if you feel like God said that you're supposed to have it, you got to put it in your mouth. You got to say, Lord, you told me that I can have this. So right now, Father, I am above and not beneath. My mortgage is paid off in Jesus' name. We will not struggle anymore in Jesus' name. Not, Lord, well, if we're not supposed to, be in this house, let us find the right one. God promised you that house. You got that house, and now you need to keep it by putting the right words in your mouth. And I know we probably all somewhere in there have a struggle with that. You identify with what you see. But you got to understand, if you don't put it in your mouth, God can't help you there. Because, like I said before in the beginning, the kingdom of God is voice activated. It's just like that Siri. I know y'all know how to work them. Y'all be talking to them all the time. Siri, what does Siri? Turn the lights on. Siri, turn on that. But boy, when we going through something, we can't say, Jesus, take the wheel. Take this. I can't do it by myself. Help me. If you need to, just act like Jesus is Siri. Say, Jesus, Siri, I need some help down here. I'm going through it and I don't know what to do. Help me. Turn my faith on, God. Do something. Because if we don't start putting some stuff in our mouth, devil's going to continue to beat us up. And then the last one, this was a kind of a hard one, is know your faith. You got to understand that there's a certain level that we're all on. Everybody's not on the same level. So it's great to have initiative, to take a little initiative every once in a while and jump on your own. But you need to understand your faith level. I am not going to call everybody on the north side to come here who's going through in wheelchairs and doing all that to have a big healing service, because I'm not there yet. And I know my faith is, I know that that's going to happen. I know I'm going to see people to happen, but I'm not there yet to be able to give that to somebody. And I'm telling you, once you are dealing with people and you're trying to tell them how to break free of something, their spirit is picking up on your faith. So if your faith is, oh, you can be free of that, but in the back of your mind, it's, oh, Lord, he's dead. I don't see him coming out of that. They picking up on that. It's better that you don't say nothing than if you get up there and you start telling people, oh, you can be free, and in the back of your head you're saying you can't be free. You just gonna live with that. I had that issue. The reason why I can say without a shadow of a doubt, people say God don't change hearts. God will not do that. He will not change somebody's heart for another person. I beg to differ. I know he will. And it depends on the matter of faith that you have. I remember the time that God told me, Kenny, either you want Kim or you don't. It's up to you. Because I remember when the pastor stood up and told me, son, there's just sometimes that what you want, you're not going to be able to get. God's not going to change that person's heart for you. It's only if that person wants to do it. And then me fighting day and day. Women, oh, little lover, I can't understand why she don't want me. God, I can't live. I just need her, please, Father. Then the next day, forget that chick. I don't care. Bye, Felicia. And then again, oh my God, I can't leave. No, don't leave. It was like I was so wishy-washy. My mom finally got tired of me. She's like, boy, if you eat something, stop just sitting around acting stupid. What do you want? I was like, what do you mean? What do you want? Do you want it or you not want it? One minute you want it, another you want. You're making me crazy. What do you want? Oh, well, I guess I want her. Well, then then get it. Stop acting like this and go after what you want. So I was like, wow, okay, well, I'm going to try. No, don't try, do it. She's like, God already told you how to do it. Did he say you can have it or did he say you couldn't? I was like, well, he said I could, but they said, I don't care what they said. What does the word say? Which is what my Uncle Michael used to say. I miss that man. He was like, what the word say? It's very simple. There's only one way, and it's what the word says. And so the day it switched with her, you can't tell me that God won't change your heart, that God won't move a situation for you because you have enough faith to believe. It'll happen. That's why some of these people out here that's getting blessed the way that they're getting blessed shouldn't be. They have enough understanding or enough luck to believe that what they say happens and it changes their situation. It'll change yours too. But that comes with a level of faith. If you don't know your level of faith, then you're not going to be able to operate where you're supposed to. So I don't know what you have to do, if you have to find you a nice song, if you have to get you to a different church with a fired up pastor or whatever, or if you just need to just surrender yourself, but you need to find yourself a faith guide. Faith guides can be a scripture, there can be a song, it could also be another person. And what I mean by that is if you find a song that identifies with you, like you're like, wow, that song, it just does something. It makes me feel like my faith, woo, then you need to play that all the time. That's your guide. It kind of pulls you to a place to where you can get more understanding on your faith level. Then after you do that, once you get into the word, it starts to teach you how to move with that guide. Sometimes that guide is a person. That means you just need to sit up under it and you need to, my Uncle Michael, I believe at point times he was probably tired of me because I'd be like, he's like, boy, what are you doing? Hey, so how do you do this? Why do you do that? How you do? And I'm like 20-something. He's like, boy, my kids wasn't this bad. He's just like, every time I'm somewhere, he's right up under me. But at the end, he told me he loved that. And he said that, he told me he was proud of me. But for the most part, he said that, if there was anything that I was to do, it's to not have faith in the situation that's going to change it, but have faith in what the word says about the situation. And that threw me for a minute because I was like, I don't, what do you mean? It's like whatever the word says, it has to come true. It has to be that way. That circumstance is going to tell you that it's somewhere else. So if you believe in that, you've taken your eyes off the word. You have to believe in the word, and then your situations will change. There's still things that, I haven't got that I'm still trying to get, but the one thing I will, leave you with as we close today is you can't tell me that God won't change your situation. I know the easiest way to get there is praise. That's why I'm always in here like, we got to praise. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to move. You're not going to be able to get there just by what you think or what your mind tells you or what you see. You're going to have to jump out and get on one of those platforms where it doesn't look like there's anything stabilizing you and just jump and let him catch you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Ramon Phillips here, and I would like to personally thank you for watching our YouTube videos. I would also like to take a quick moment to invite you to partner with us financially. We have a giving site on our website. If you go to the website below and just hit the give, and help us as we expand locally as a church and as we support our mission abroad. We actually are currently supporting 13 churches in the Philippines, but we're also supporting some ministries here locally. And if you like what you see and you enjoy our ministry but never have the time to make it to our church, you can give online at restorationtulsa.org, or you can simply text to give at this number, or you can come join us. Thanks again for watching our videos. It means a lot to us. God bless.